Hey all, boardgamerants here. We'll find everything solo tabletop gaming and more. And today we're going to talk about Grand Austria Hotel. It does not have an official solo variant. I'll be showing you an unofficial solo variant, a little bit what it plays like, and what I'm thinking about on the other side coming up. So Grand Austria Hotel. Here is kind of the main board area where you'll be getting guests, and these are your end game, or I should say just scoring opportunities. And here as well, you got some opportunities to get some bonuses. There's 7 rounds to play. In each round, there's going to be 2 turns that you get to take. And those turns are going to basically be using one of these dice that were randomly rolled. There's 10 that you roll in a 2-player game. And then you look at the top 1, 2, all the way through 6. It tells you what type of action you get. And the power of the action is determined by how many dice are there. So if I took action 1, I get to do it 3 times because there's 3 dice here. And that sort of works the same way for all of these. And what you're trying to do, of course, is stuff all these guests into rooms of your hotel. So this is my board. This is the AI board. The AI is run by this very easy to run automa deck. You just flip over a card and do its thing for the AI, and then at the end you're going to score, and if you score more than the AI, you win. There's a few different levels. There's easy, medium, and hard there for the AI, and even within that you can change some stuff to alter it to your taste. But when you start the game, you start the game with your rooms, and you have to first prepare a room, and then you have to get a guest, and then that guest you have to feed them whatever they want. This guy wants some white cake. You've got these abstracted things. They're either going to want coffee, cake, strudel, or wine. And so this particular fellow, the apothecary, he's got a reservation, and he's not going to take a room, and you have to have the same colored room, so a red room, because this guy's red. Over here you can see there's yellow, blue. There's also a green that comes out, and green you can put in any color room. But generally, yellow, blue, red. So once I feed this guy some cake, he happily takes a room. I would get points, possibly, and I would get a little bonus here. In this case, I'd get a little money. And then I'd flip over the room that he takes and occupies, and I discard this. And in that way, you're going to be taking actions to prepare more rooms, because I can't just put anybody in a room out here. They have to be prepared first. So in the beginning of the game, you get to start off preparing 3 rooms, and you get a guest to start with. But over the course of the game, you're going to be spreading out, preparing more rooms. And then as you prepare these rooms, you're going to want to complete sets of colors. So like this group of 3 blues, this is one group of 1 red. This is a group of 4 yellows, etc. And you have to kind of work your way left to right. You always have to prepare a room adjacent to, so you kind of work your way up to these rooms up here where you're going to get automatic points and stuff. And as you complete different sets of rooms, like if I completed this set of 2 reds, I'd look up here and I'd get 3 money. You get to move up on a track if you complete yellow, and you get to move up on your victory point track if you complete blue. This is the Emperor track. So as you're doing all this stuff, it's going to affect over here. You got some random A, B, C goals to go after, and they're going to give you different goal objectives each game, randomized. And if you're the first, you're going to get 15 points. If you're the second, you're going to get 10. And the AI will grab these too. So so anyway, there's those to go after and score points, and this is where you'll keep track of your points. There's 3 different scoring rounds at the end of the 3rd, 5th, and 7th, and then there's a final scoring. And that has to do with this Emperor track. And so you'll be moving up this track and getting points based on how far you are on the track once you get to these spots. And then you'll have to move back on the Emperor track. And if you're still in the gold, you're going to get this bonus. So if I was like this and I was like there, and we were scoring this 3rd round, I'd get 4 points. Then I'd have to move back 1, 2, 3 spaces. I'm still in the gold, so I would get this bonus. If I was bumped all the way back to the black, then I would get this bad thing on the bottom half. So that's how that works, and then you have to go back further each time. As you get further up, You got to make sure you're further on this emperor track in order to get the bonuses and not the penalties. And then yeah, at the end of the game, you're going to score based on how well you've filled out your hotel. You're going to compare that to the AI. The AI is very easy to run. On the AI's turn, you're just going to flip over a card, and you're going to go over just a series of, it's going to get certain guests. It's going to take up rooms, and then it's going to take a die. In this case, it would take the max, says the highest number of dice. So there's ones and there's threes. Those are the strongest actions because there's the most die. And then this little tiebreaker says work your way from left to right. So he would take a 1. And then down here, depending on what round you're in, 1 through 7, you're going to have it move up on the emperor track. Sometimes it's going to snatch goals. You can hardly kind of see that, but that says A on the bottom there, or the C goal here if it was round 6. So depending on what round you're in, that's how these work. Very slick, very easy system. There's also 2, let's see here, so it's going to grab guests from you. It's going to, and then it's going to take dice from you, and then it's possibly going to go up on the emperor track and score stuff. And it can also take helpers, which I'll show you in a second. If things have a parenthesis around them, or whatever this thing is, depending on what level you're playing, you either ignore that or you do it. So there's kind of how the different levels work. You would ignore certain things on cards. Helpers too, you can get, and you start off with a hand of helpers, and all these, they just help, they just boost everything that I just went over there in one way, shape, or form. There's also some good end game scoring helpers here that if you find them, I don't think there's one in here. Nope. Oh, there's one more card. Did I get an end game? No. Nope. So there's end game scoring though helpers that you can get that will help boost your end game scoring. Whole stack of helpers there, whole stack of guests there. So very generally, that's how the game goes, and the AI, very easy to run. Let's talk about what I'm thinking. Grand Austria Hotel. So this game sets up pretty quick, 10 to 15 minutes when you get it out of the box, and then 5 to 10 minutes to reset the game. Takes up probably the better part of a coffee table. I'm playing on a big, but I would say a 3x3, you're going to take up most of it just because there's a lot of boards to put out there, and then cards, you got to figure out where you're going to put them. And some of the stuff you can put on the boards themselves, like the board where you place the dice, there's tons of room there. So you could use that board. You could shore some things up if you had to, but length of play, around 45 minutes, I would say. Upwards to an hour when you're first learning, but once you really get the thing down, at least for me, it was a nice 45 minutes, and I could probably even play it quicker, but that's where I put the right amount of thought into the gameplay, I felt like, and then resetting it, and you can play it and reset it all within an hour, and that's a nice zone for solo play for me. The components, the value for the components, what did I pay for them and whatnot. This game you can find on a pretty good sale somewhere, most likely. It's been out for a long time, so I feel like if you get it on a sale, it's got good, solid quality value there for at least the physicality of it and what you're paying for. I wish the cubes were something more than the cake and strudel and coffee, or just more than just cubes. But I know you can upgrade the components. You can find sites and places to do that if you like the game that much. So there's that. But thematically too, I feel like for a Euro, this really comes out. The theme really comes out. You feel like you've got this hotel there, and you're getting the rooms, and then you got to get the guests, and you got to feed the guests, and you put them in the rooms, and it all makes sense thematically. So I feel, unlike a lot of games where I feel like mechanics are, a theme is pasted onto these mechanics, this all fit nicely in it, and it's really pretty a thematic Euro. Not like well, I mean, maybe like a Vita Lacerda game, how thematic those games are, even though they're super heavy Euros. I guess this is kind of right in there, but this is very much a medium weight. This is not a heavyweight game for me anyway. The rulebook was fine. The rulebook had some knickknacks, I feel like, that were just placed in there that I had to go back and find because I wasn't quite ready to understand how important like a little tidbit was. Like when you get the food, where do you put the food at? Can you put it in your kitchen? Do you put it on the cards? I feel like that was one thing I just overlooked and had to look at a couple times. It was only just a couple things like that. But the rulebook's very small, relatively speaking. because the game is, well-designed games have a lot of depth and very little need for a big rule book, I find, or a lot of well-designed games of a certain kind. So, well, anyway, this rule book, not big rule book, easy to have to reread if you have to reread it. So good there. The mechanics are just sound. I really dig how everything was put together. I think this has a lot of popularity and it's been around a long time, and it still has a lot of people talking about and liking this game for a good reason, because it's just, everything fits just in a nice, everything's linked together, and you can get some cool little chains and little combos going with the mechanics as you're very generally getting guests, feeding them, putting them in prepared rooms, which then activates the guests, which then activates, maybe you've completed a group, a color, which gets you, a bunch of money or whatever, and now suddenly you're flush with cash, or you've rocketed up on that emperor track because the next scoring thing's coming up, and now you're going to be able to get the bonus instead of the penalty, or maybe suddenly you just finish something that now allows you to grab one of the objectives and score some big points. It's all, very well done. Everything just fits and clicks so nicely in this game. So well designed game, in my opinion. The mechanics all work beautifully with one another, and nothing in excess. And it's not overwhelming. So for someone who's maybe not used to it says advanced variant or advanced something on the box. I mean, this is advanced maybe for a lightweight game, but it feels very medium weight to me, and it's just like a quintessential medium weight. This feels just very well done, and it doesn't, you don't get caught up too much in analysis paralysis with this. Anyway, solid mechanics. The strategy, I really like games where, and I feel like this is one of them, where the setup dictates what you're going to do. You've got your guests, and you get a guest, and you get a few rooms prepared. You see the objectives that come out, those are random. You see the emperor tiles, those are random. You've got your hand of cards, your helpers, those are random. So when you set up the game, it really dictates, like, okay, how am I going to play this game to score the most points? You get to start with that. And I like games that do that. It's sort of like, you still have to do some stuff on the fly while you're playing the game, but you come up with a good plan. You're like, okay, I gotta work my hotel this certain way because of this objective or whatever. And then you start playing, and then stuff, curveballs get thrown at you. But one of the biggest ones could have been if there were only the 3 colored types of guests, but there's and you're really going after a certain color because that's just the way the game needs to go. Well, they've got these green guests, which are wild, and you can put them in any colored room. So there's some luck in there too, of course with card drawing. There's always going to be, but it was mitigated very well and handled very well, to where I felt like I could really execute my plan, but I had to be a little bit clever about it to make it work. And so wonderful. I thought from a strategic standpoint, this game really had it going on. And now the solo design, that is where, unexpected. These unofficial solo variants sometimes come out, and they are just remarkable. And this one was certainly one of those. It was, and I'll put up maybe on the screen, or I'll put it down below. Give credit to the user that made this variant. But it's very much just Automa style. You just got to print out some cards, sleeve them up, and that's it. That's all that runs your AI. The AI has its own board, and you just flip over cards, and it just tells you, bop, 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 bop. You kind of go left to right, top to bottom, and you do the things, and it works so simply. I don't know, so wonderfully. Well, you just get right back to your turn. So you flip over the card, and it's like bop, 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 and then back to your turn. And there was some stuff there with the rules for the AI that I don't know if I sort of lost in translation. I don't know if I was maybe giving it, 2 guesses when I shouldn't have been giving it some guesses, or and it's worded a little weird in spots that I was like, I hope I'm doing this right. But anyway, it was fine. I was still able to play it, and you still feel like you're competing against something for end game scoring. And it works just darn near flawlessly. I mean, if this variant came with the game and was like the official solo variant, I'd have been like, yeah, it's a well-designed solo variant, it just works for this game. So kudos to whoever did that, the unofficial solo AI variant. That's really why I bought the games, because I heard a lot about this variant and heard that it was just like you know, if you want to play this game solo, this is the variant you use, and you're going to be able to enjoy all the aspects of the game. And it was entirely true. So, and it has some difficulties levels to work with, and even within those difficulty levels, you can tweak them. I could hardly win on normal, so plenty of room to grow there for me. So, but it's nice that there's an option. So this game is pretty darn replayable. You know, it really is. I mean, you're going to start seeing the same cards pretty quickly. You know, the objective cards, there's only like 12 different ones, and you randomly select 3, but still the objective tiles and, you know, and all the guests kind of do, you know, after a good handful of plays, you're going to start seeing stuff. But still, it's all going to come out, you know, in a different way, in a different pattern that's going to make you play the game a little bit differently. So I would still say there's good high level replayability there. It's certainly fun. You're playing this Euro game, which a lot of times theme is lost in those. But here, yeah, I mean, it would help too if I had something, you know, actual cake or actual strudel pieces, and I'm feeding these guests, that would just amplify the theme that much more. And I know I can go that route if I want, but yeah, this game just hit the sweet spot on a number of levels. Now, it's a medium weight, in my preference, certainly, you know, for games that have real staying power, you need like a heavyweight kind of category for me to really be like, you know, this is never leaving my collection, but it's not going anywhere right now. And I've been enjoying my time there with this game, with Grand Austria Hotel. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns down below. And until next time, thanks so much for watching. I'm Board Game Rants, and I'm out.